So we are live. So we'll just wait for people to come.
Okay.
So someone is asking me about a meeting. I wrote, "Hi everybody. Hi, thank you for joining. We're going to be starting shortly. If you just give us a few minutes and we will start." So we've got Luke Banda in the house. Luke Banda is here. So hello. Hi, Luke.
Greetings, leadership. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
We are very well. We are very
Yeah,
well.
we're just trying to see if we can just get some more people who want to join
Okay, okay.
in the studio. Someone is just asking me for the link right now. So thank you and welcome to everyone that is joining us. I think what we are going to do is we're just going to introduce the radio and we are going to start because we're not going to be here for a long time. So I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Patricia Chinyoka and I am the host on the Political Trends program. We are a digital radio broadcasting from across the globe, the UK, USA, China, South Africa, Australia, etc. And our aim is to broadcast news affecting you in your communities, wherever you are, and raising awareness of issues that affect people from the running of the economy, education, health, political impacts, etc., focusing on the issues happening in Zimbabwe. And so today we have a very interesting topic. We are going to be hearing from our speakers talking about their highlights for 2021 from a political and human rights perspective. So, what interested them and what they thought stood out in 2021. And I have a few things also that I'm going to share that stood out for me and also for the MDC Alliance in 2021 more broadly, and hopefully our guests will talk to us about what they hope to get for 2022 or what their plans are for 2022. So I am joined by Vimbai Mamombe, who is based in the UK. So she is a human rights activist and she does a lot of work in this area. I'm also joined by Luke Banda, who is for representing the MDC Alliance in Zambia. So if I can come to you first, Vimbai, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
So, thank you, Patricia. My name is Vimbai Mamombe. I'm a human rights activist based in the UK. Um, Basically, I work with two organizations um, that have to do with Zimbabwe. First, I'm a member of the MDCA Alliance in the Manchester branch, and I'm also part of the Zimbabwe Community Appeal, an organization that came together with various organizations that came together that include the MDC Alliance, Zoro, RO, and ZAPU. So that's basically the Zimbabwe Community Appeal within the UK. But yeah, basically we'll talk more about it. But those are the two organizations that I work with in the human rights front for Zimbabwe.
Okay, thank you so much. And if I can just come to you, Leader Luke Banda, can you introduce yourself, please, and just let the viewers know who you are? I think you're
Greetings, everyone. Greetings, everyone. Greetings, leaders. Greetings to listeners. My name is Luke Imano Banda. I'm the Zambian District MDC Alliance spokesperson. I'm naturally an human rights activist as well. I called myself into that field, and as well as a business person. here in Zambia. I'm actually based in Zambia, and I'm also part of the it's a newly formed committee for the um, diaspora fundraising committee, which is probably it hasn't been officiated yet, but I'm part of the oncoming committee and organization there. Mm.
Thank you so much. And I think one of the banners, if just to our viewers, is that we are in a time of celebrating Christmas. And different people celebrate this festive period differently. Some people celebrate it because it's a time to get together with family members and friends and to eat. But I think with COVID and the new variant, it's going to be very difficult. What we have seen is a rise in infections, particularly here in the UK, among young people 35 and under. And so some of those are having to miss out on celebrating with family and friends. But I think one of the reasons why we felt that we can't be merry, during this Christmas when people are happy, is that from a political perspective, there really is no happiness. We cannot be merry when some people are in prison because they have stood up and they are speaking out against the atrocities of the regime. So we are remembering Marco, and our message to the regime is that free Marco. He shouldn't be in prison. He should be out. He should be at home, with family, particularly at this point of the year. There are also others who are in prison that were incarcerated following the 2019 fuel protests. And so it's really important that we can send a clear message to the regime that is unacceptable to imprison people for merely speaking out and calling the right thing. So good morning, good afternoon. Sorry, I'm saying good morning now. Good evening, everybody. So it might be morning wherever you are. Good afternoon, good evening. It's good evening here in the UK. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are tuning in from. So just to kick us off, I am just going to come to you and just ask, first of all, Vimbai, what stood out for you in 2021? What is that defining moment that you want to share with the viewers? You're on mute.
Yeah, I'm saying actually, Patricia, I don't know where to begin because, in my opinion, people in the UK did quite a lot in 2021. So I guess the highlight of everything was COP26. But there's a lot of other things that the Zimbabwean community did. Like I said, that includes the MDCA Alliance, ZAPU, Zoro, and RO. That community appeal did a lot of work. I've never seen Zimbabweans coming together in such a way. It was just beautiful work in 2021. So if you like, I can just, quickly go through the things that that this committee did.
Yes, please do go ahead for the benefit of our listeners. Yes, thank you.
Okay. First, this committee came together because of at the time when they were pending deportations for Zimbabweans that were supposed to be deported to Zimbabwe. Of course, we've been accused that we supported criminals. But I think this is a good opportunity for me to straighten that out, that we did not support criminals. What we said as the Zimbabwe community appeal was everyone needs due process. Everybody cannot, people cannot just be rounded up and deported to Zimbabwe, especially in the light of the human rights abuses that are happening in Zimbabwe. So we were saying everybody should be given a chance to go before a judge. And those people that, the judges said should be deported were deported. But all we were saying is everybody needs due process. Zimbabwe Community Appeal, MDC, and the human rights organizations always stand out for people's rights. People have a right to, have a right to due process. And this is basically what we're saying. And then we did a lot of demonstrations and vigils. Most of these demonstrations were sort of spearheaded by and the vigils at the Zimbabwean embassy were spearheaded by Zoro under John Burke, of course, it's been under immense attack, immense attack, for calling out the regime. And all those people who have supported him have had it hard from the regime. Women were accused of being loose and all those things because they spoke out at these demonstrations and at these vigils. And then I come to COP26. Of course, COP26 was organized by the four groups. The Zimbabwe Community Appeal is chaired by Edgar Makuni, the chairman for the Southwest District. So, there's a big role by MDC there, the MDC Alliance. So COP26, people went down to Glasgow. People put resources together. Those that didn't have resources, we put funds together as MDC branches at branch level, at district level, and people went. Most people funded the trip to Glasgow on their own accord because they wanted to express their anger at what is going on in Zimbabwe. They wanted to reach Mr. Mnangagwa when he was here in the UK, where it's allowed to protest. The Scottish police came over to make sure that we are fine. We're allowed to protest. We're allowed to, to air out our views. So COP26 was really, really, a splendid highlight. And besides that, at COP26, ZANU-PF demonstrated who they are. They came, tried their propaganda, went on a drinking spree, wasted resources, while the ordinary Zimbabweans continue to wallow in poverty. So COP26 was really, really, a highlight, and it really exposed ZANU-PF for what they are. Further, 3 petitions were handed to the British government by the Community Appeal, of course, which includes the groups I've talked about. There was one of the appeals that really, one of the petitions that really described Mr. Mnangagwa for who he is. It was taken to number 10 Downing Street. There was also the right to vote and also the issue of deportations. All these petitions were handed in by the Community Appeal as Zimbabweans came together. This was a lovely experience. I've never seen such unity in the Zimbabwean community. Also, there was quite a bit of fundraising within, this community. One of the major fundraisings that is going on at the moment is for a group that came together and decided that we're raising money for polling agents. At the minute, was sitting at £4,000 plus, I think, for 2023. So this is something we're doing gradually, but we will get there in 2023. We want our vote to be protected. Obviously, ZANU-PF is going to try and steal the vote, like they always do. But we also want to put, an effective pushback. And one of the pushbacks that we can actually do is raising, enough resources for polling agents. Also, there was a donation to the president's cheer fund, President Chamisa's cheer fund. Of course, ZANU-PF, decided that the elderly in Zimbabwe should not get anything. Just what's wrong with somebody giving people something? This shows how intolerant ZANU-PF is. What's wrong with somebody getting food? What's wrong with somebody getting a hamper? ZANU-PF is completely intolerant, and they're going over the edge. And I think, MDC Alliance is driving them over the edge because they know that MDC Alliance is at the heart of people. People love MDC, and MDC Alliance loves the people. So I think this is basically the major highlights of part of my activism. I was part of all this in 2021. And of course, I wasn't the only one. There's a whole lot of Zimbabweans who came together at branch level, at, district level. Zimbabweans came together in a marvelous and beautiful way.
Thank you so much for that. That is really, really amazing. The fact that, the highlight of the COP26 was just super amazing. Just seeing the Zimbabwean people come together to speak with one voice. And, I call that the citizens' convergence for change. And exactly. For me, that is one of the highlights of this year, is that the MDC Alliance launched the Citizens Convergence for Change, and calling on organizations, on groups, on individuals, on people to come together because we can't do it. A few groups of people can't do it alone. You can't create the change. We need everybody that is progressive and everyone that wants to see that change in Zimbabwe to come together and to work together. And I think that's one of the reasons why we wanted to hear from Zambia, celebrating their highlight of UPND getting into power. But Joseph hasn't arrived. But what we are going to do is just come to you, Luke, and just ask you to tell us what your highlight has been for 2021. You need
Oh,
to
thank you,
unmute
leader.
yourself. Yeah, thank you.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can.
2021 for the Zambian or I might say Zimbabwean residents residing in Zambia, it has been a blessing, and we are actually still in a joyful mood. To be honest, the beginning of January, we were quite few people who were actually representing the MDC Alliance here in Zambia. We started, I think, if I can remember, last year in 2020, we were actually sixth when we met at Levy Junction. Shopping mall at the car park, and you can tell by the mood of the people, they were afraid. They were just checking on their side that isn't there any C10 or C-Watt from Zimbabwe who is actually following us. People were actually afraid, for the search. And remember, this is the time when the PF government of Edgar Chagwa was in power, and we understand that these two sister parties were actually in a kind of dictatorship mood. So they really didn't want to see anything red there. So I remember at one time they caught us. One of the security guys came and said, "Guys, you always see you meeting here on every Sunday. Or what's going on?" And we had to come up with statement like to tell them, "No, guys, we're just we're Zimbabwean men trying to do our this thing called round in Zimbabwe. In here in Zambia we call it chirimba and stuff. That was actually our blanket. We covered ourselves. They said, okay, it's fine instead. So we were kind of limited to really express what we're actually trying to achieve there. We didn't have a proper place whereby we can go and meet as MDC Alliance guys. And then I remember as well, at one time we organized a demo. It was successful sometime last year at the Zimbabwean embassy. I remember, if I'm not mistaken, that people who agreed were about plus 40. But when we were at the embassy there, I think we were only sixth. Men couldn't pick up their calls to say, guys, let's go and do what we have agreed. People were actually afraid. But fast forward, we come to August after the inauguration of President Hakainde Hichilema. I'm telling you, up to date, I still feel out of the blues. This is the time that we as Zambian MDC Alliance are shining. If I tell you, each and every time we meet, we are just as free, and I don't know how to really express how everyone is feeling right now, because last year it was actually a kind of different view, especially when you are seeing us as MDC. We were actually afraid because the PF thugs were actually over us. They really didn't want us to come together because they knew that we are sister party to UPND. Now, another event is after the president, Nelson Chamisa and Vice President BT, when they visited during the inauguration time. This is when you see, a lot of Zimbabweans are actually residing in Zambia. They actually probably registered 300,000, excuse me, more than 300,000 residing in Zambia right now as we speak. But sometimes if we are to tell some of the guys that, guys, this is what we are doing in Lusaka, blah, 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 you won't see anyone coming through, and, people will be afraid. Others will be just skeptical, probably to think, I know these guys are just trying probably to, they're just doing it for the sake of it. But after the visit of President Nelson Chamisa and Vice President, I think you saw some of the pictures. This is when we began to see a lot of number of ladies who are actually dormant. They didn't really want to be seen, but they came up. This is the time that when they see, these guys are actually doing something that is tangible. This is President Chamisa. This is President BT. No, so we can join. And if I tell you, according to our register, I think we boomed from 100 to about 300 subscribed members who actually came soon after the visit of President Nelson Chamisa and Tendai Biti. So even up to date, when we call on Twitter, people are coming to our inboxes, guys, where do we meet? Others are still skeptical. Others, ZANU-PF has actually incited fear. Most of the Zimbabweans, they are afraid. Most of these guys are afraid even to come to our meetings. But slowly it's getting away as we try to sell our manifestos and policies for the movement and stuff. So this is when we're beginning to see the fruits. So 2021 coming to 2022 right now, we know that it's actually going to be a fruitful year, and 2021 is ended as a fruitful year. 2022 we're getting again is going to grow. White Zambian district, and then again, this is when we begin to see other guys that we didn't even think that were in Zambia. These guys were just quiet, commenting on Facebook, and they didn't even want us to think that they are in Zambia. This is when after they saw President BT and Vice President BT and President Chamisa, and this is when we saw them coming up to say, no, you guys, I was doing this ABCD in Zimbabwe, so I can help in ABC. Those are some of the guys who are actually trying to open other branches here in Zambia. They actually offered their places. One of the guys that we actually meet with, he owns a private school here in Zambia. He said, guys, if you want, I can open my own a branch, as a district under you. And then you are seeing a lot of people coming there to sacrifice their stuff for the use of the movement. So that it started as a bad year for us, 2021, but it ended well. Soon after August, we saw a lot of hope, a lot of revival being rekindled in most of the Zimbabweans residing in Zambia, and fear is actually going away as we speak. So for me, that's some of the highlights for 2021.
Thank you so much. That's really amazing to hear you talk about all of that. And it's I can't believe that there's 300,000 Zimbabweans in Zambia. Are they concentrated in Lusaka? The majority or in the Copper Belt? Where are they concentrated? I think you've gone on mute.
Yeah. Actually. Okay. We do have the others. Actually, the towns that are actually dominated by the Zimbabweans, it's Lusaka, Livingstone, and Copper Belt. Very few in the eastern part, but mainly it's Lusaka, Copper Belt, and Livingstone. And the part of Chirundu. Chirundu, this is where you see the border of Zambia and Zimbabwe. So a lot of people are reside there as well. Yes.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And, we're so delighted because we can already begin to see the impact of the Zambian success at the polls and, some of the learning that Zimbabwe can adopt, particularly with the youth vote, because I think what clinched the deal for Zambia with the youth, and we need to be working with the youth. I think one of the things why the youth in Zambia decided to come on board is because they felt that they were key stakeholder. They felt that they had a stake in the future of the country. They felt that they were a part of it and that they were allowed to air their voice. When people feel that they are a part of something, when they feel that they belong and that they have a stake in something, they are more likely to participate in that process. And so I think that's the key message that needs to go to our youth in Zimbabwe, is that they are key stakeholders. It is their future at stake. A 40-year-old, the majority of 40-year-olds in Zimbabwe or 41-year-olds in Zimbabwe have never worked, have never had a payslip, don't have a pension, can never get a loan to start a business. There's just no opportunities at all. Hence why they are now trying to seek opportunities in other countries. And when they seek opportunities in those countries, it is not always a good story because some of them are having to live and work illegally, and that is quite dangerous. And then we begin to see the challenges that we saw in South Africa. And so, there's a lot of engagement that needs to be done to draw our youth to come and be part of citizens' convergence for change. We need their voice. We need them. They're important to us. I'm delighted to welcome Washington Ali, who's just joined us. And what we are doing, welcome. What we are doing is I'm asking people to introduce themselves. So please, can you introduce yourself and tell us your highlight for 2021?
Oh my God, you got me on the spot there. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me tonight. Um, I think 2021 has been a very difficult year. Very difficult, if there was a year that I could cancel and put aside, I think it's one of the years that I would put aside. I I think work-wise things have been going okay. I can't complain. Social-wise things have not been great. I lost my father in July. So that's my law, proper law, because I was looking forward to meeting him, but that didn't happen. Um, One of the highs is for the MDC. I think after what happened with the other party, I don't want to mention their name. Um, our party has really started tracking traction, and I think it's being seen by what is happening there. Everyone is shaking out there, and I think that's one of the highs. And to add a little bit more to those highs is the appointments from the presidents. He's an action man. We can see what he's doing at home, and we can see now what the whole diaspora is doing now. I think it's a matter of time for everyone to see that the sign is now written on the wall. People need change.
Mhm.
They need change yesterday. And people are coming up and they are doing things. Look at what the citizens are doing on the side there. It has never happened in the history of Africa, let alone the history of Zimbabwe. Now, the MDC has come in with its own fundraiser, with its own diaspora policy, network creation, and I can tell you that's really taking the whole world by storm, because they are being inclusive of everyone, regardless of where you are. As long as you are somebody who's saying, listen, in Rimchinja, I want change.
Mhm.
Things that are happening at home, we've had enough. People are now taking it upon themselves to be joining all the institutions, the party organs, the fundraiser. They are doing whatever it takes. They are saying, we know what Mnangagwa has done. He's brought in his ZANU PF2 there to try and take things away from us. But it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
We will stand up to what is right, and people are showing just that. And I would like also to encourage some of the listeners and people who are going to be watching this program that a time has come for you and me to take your place. If you want change, this is your time. We have to stand up together and do something together, not individually, together united. Zimbabwe will change, and it won't probably won't even wait for 2023. People are angry. I mean, I would give an example of what has happened this weekend. I'm sure we saw Gogoa. She penga kupenga. She was not happy, and to be honest, that really fueled me. These are our gogos, they are our elders who are out there to receive a donation, something for Christmas.
Mhm.
And then you are sending all those police to go and disrupt that event. The worst thing is you have Java there out there giving people who are not even social distancing. They are sitting there with police protection. And a person who has been elected by people, millions of people, you are now not giving me a chance to share what he has to share with those elders. I think the regime needs to respect the people of Zimbabwe. They need to respect our leader. They need to respect our party. They need to respect us as Zimbabweans. I think they are getting way out of line. They need to come back to line. There is a lot of issues that they are not dealing with. They are used to situations where themselves they take advantage of giving people something that is supposed to be public, and they say it's ZANU-PF. Now MDC is saying, "Oh, okay, we are from the bottom of our hearts. We know the our parents. We know our ambuyas varikushupika. Let's help them out." They go and try and help them out. Then you come in and you disrupt that. I don't know how some people sleep, but all I can say is, Mangwana achasvika, tomorrow will come. And all I can also say is to my fellow Zimbabweans, my fellow citizens, we need to call a stop to this barbaric behavior. Thank you very much, my sister.
Thank you so much. I think it's what happened with Gogo and that party for the older citizens just deems some of the highlights that would want to celebrate. It almost feels as if the moment something good happens, something evil, the regime just does something that is just so unthinkable. I mean, even those policemen, could they not have said no? We've seen it. I think years ago, the Egyptians, they were asked to go to the square. Was it Egypt where they were asked to go to the square? The soldiers were asked to go, and they refused. They turned around and they stood with the people. So we need a police force that has a backbone, that can say no to the regime, because that could be your grandmother right there that you're treating like that. So that is terrible. So before you joined us, we're just talking about some of the key highlights, and Rimbai had talked about COP26 and the impact that it had, and how it rattled the regime's cage, and how she saw Zimbabwe's converging. So that convergence for change is really important, and it's really coming out, and you've mentioned it also. And so the citizens raising 120 something thousand US dollars, and there's so many fundraisers going out there. Rimbai talked about a support polling agents, and they've raised up about £4,000. There's more that are coming in. The Diaspora Affairs Office also launched a fundraiser. So there's so much that is going out there, the good things that the MDC Alliance are doing that are going to enable to create some change for Zimbabwe. Oh, look, Banda has come back, he'd gone. But Vimbai, did you have anything that you wanted to add or to say, just listening to Washington Ali there?
Yes, Patricia, I would want to sort of talk about 2022, the coming year, as we look, we go into 2022 with a lot of optimism, hoping that we'll achieve better, as you say, as, citizens converge for change, we'll achieve better, we'll achieve more in 2022. We need an information strategy. We need a needs assessment of exactly what is needed. We need that information. We need, just information will allow us to plan. We need to know the target youths that we're talking about, the population. We know that ZANU-PF is going to do a census, and we want to be able, as MDC Alliance, to sort of poke our nose into that, so that ZANU-PF can minimize its skewed census. The constitution says it should be 6 months before the elections, and usually they use that to manipulate constituency delimitations. So those are some of the things that we need information for, to be able to target our youths. Just over and above, financial resources, we just need information. We need needs assessment. We need strategies to be able to reach the voter, to support them to register, and also then to register and vote for the MDC. We also need to continue, these fundraising strategies for 2023. Initially as MDC, and also as the Diaspora Network. We know that Mr. Hlachwayo is leading this, and also, the Citizens Convergence for Change. We need to strengthen these networks. If they're going to be effective, they need to be strengthened in all possible ways. Of course, we know one of ZANU-PF's major strategies is weaken them, get one out, take Monzora, manipulate him, blah, blah, blah. That's ZANU-PF strategy. But we're saying 2022 going forward, we need a strong network that will prepare for 2023 in order to make sure that the regime is dislodged. We need the citizens to convert for change, like you're saying. And also, we need the diaspora to look out for each other, and support the MDCA Alliance goals, Kumusha. The MDC Alliance needs to be supported by the diaspora. I think that's really important. We need to embrace the vision. We need to embrace, the strategy. We need to be able as well to consult with Harare, back and forth to come up with the strategy. I believe that, to come up with the best strategy, consultation is very important. And as we know, the diaspora committee that was put together by the president is starting that, and it's engaging the various networks and the various MDC alliance bodies across across the world. And I think people in the UK, Zimbabweans in the UK, have got a special touch to them. They speak out their mind. All of them, they've got the ability to speak out. They will go and submit a petition. They will talk. They will say it out. And I hope the MDC Alliance, diaspora committee will actually tap into this great resource. I saw it, even as RAW came together. I was, amazed by the amount of work that Vongai Mufara did when she was preparing for COP26 in Scotland. It was incredible. That was RAW. But it then came together with the MDC there. Chief Ndiweni, he turned up. Of course, then ZANU-PF began to hate him because he was saying facts. So we need to strengthen this network in order to achieve our goals. A lot of consultation should go into there to be able to identify what exactly needs to be done. And I think the diaspora needs recognition. It does. It needs recognition in two areas. The support that it's giving to the MDC Alliance, and as well, the power it conjures due to the remittances that it gives to Zimbabwe. We know that the diaspora remittances are they're quite significant to the economy in Zimbabwe, and ZANU-PF should allow the diaspora to vote. They need to vote. They need to cast their vote. They need to say, they need to have their say. In what goes on in this country. It's still our country. There's this horrible notion that if your MDC Alliance, you hate Zimbabwe, and only ZANU-PF has a monopoly of loving their country. That is total hogwash. We all love our country, and we should be able to express ourselves with the love we have for our country, the love we have for Zimbabwe. That's a beautiful country, mineral rich, intelligent, brains with a good human resource base. The world is tapping from the human resource base in Zimbabwe. There are Zimbabweans in America, Zimbabweans in the UK, in Australia. That are a formidable workforce in those countries. But our government, ZANU-PF, is just turning their back on them. So I'm hoping in 2022, we come together as citizens and, create a good, formidable force to be able to say our views and to be able to give Zimbabwe, a living chance and, to dislodge ZANU-PF. This is what it's all about. We look forward to 2022, Patricia.
Thank you very much, Vim. By 2022, I describe it as a year of action. If we
Thank you.
don't do action in 2022, we mustn't talk. There won't be time in 2023 to raise money. So 2022 is a year of action, and we just need to converge, as you say. And you were talking there about patriotism. There's the patriotic bill that ZANU-PF is introducing, and that is to muzzle and to stop people from speaking. And so I believe, as a patriot, that one of the things that we should do in a democratic society is be able to call out bad governance, is to be able to speak up and call out all of the human rights abuses that happen. I think that is part and parcel of being a good citizen, but the regime does not allow for that. But I just wanted to come to you, Washington, and just to ask what 2022 is going to look like for you. What do you want to see in 2022?
2022 is going to take a lot of people by surprise. I was in a meeting earlier on. I hope Wimbai is watching this, because the diaspora committee is planning and implementing. I know there was a mini launch last week, and I think at the launch, it raised nearly $2,000 there. The aim is to mobilize resources, and yeah, there are big plans, not just resources, but there's also a diaspora policy as well, which also started as well, and we are hoping to be going into the finer details as we are launching our fundraising and resource mobilization, and it's all MDC member driven. So yes, there is quite a lot that's coming next year, but you know, tomorrow we're actually going to have a mini Twitter space as well. We've now got our own Twitter account, and yeah, it's already over 600
Oh,
followers on it.
yes. Thank you so
So
much for reminding me. I need to I need to share that Twitter handle here so that people can follow that Twitter handle.
okay.
Let me look while you're speaking. I'll be looking for that Twitter handle.
Yeah, so tomorrow at 7 o'clock, we are going to finalize it. We are going to talk about some of the policies as well. And at the same time, in the discussion on policies, we are going to keep our fundraising going.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure our link for our PayPal is on there for our members to do their contributions, so that we can hit all the targets of all the things that we require to enable the election to go without any any hurdles. I know we are working with a party that does not want to see us succeeding, but there's nothing that they have done that we don't know. So we are actually working knowing that anything and everything that we put in place is going to get opposition, but we are not going to back down, because we have to put this to a stop, and we have to continue pushing. We need change, and we need change tomorrow. Corruption is up there, abuse is up there. If we look at our hospitals right now, there's nothing in the hospital. If we look at our schools, the worst results ever.
Mm-hmm.
We look at our roads, there's nothing that you can say this regime has done better. Everything that they have done is really, really, really. We are being taken back to civilization. A country that was almost like a first world country is gone back. So I think we've got a lot of work. You and me, who's watching this, it takes you to say no to corruption, no to abuses, no to being shut when you want to speak for yourself or something that is right. You don't have to be quiet. You've got to stand up and say no to this.
Yes, I think that is so important. It's so exciting that, the MDC diaspora kicked off, the second meeting that they had on Saturday, that went really well. And, people are so engaged, and they raised that money. So I think that work just needs to continue happening. So we look forward to sharing the tweets. So be watching out for those tweets so that we can share the tweets. I've shared the Twitter handle here so that people can
Fantastic.
follow on Twitter. And this side of Christmas, I think launching this side of Christmas is really a good idea, so that people know that
Yes.
they are one leg ahead, so to speak. I don't know whether that makes sense grammar wise, but they are one
Well,
foot
yeah,
ahead.
it makes sense, because we are 1 foot in front, isn't it? So by the time we get to 2022, hopefully we've got our first PA system, because we probably just need about 1,500, and we get our first PA system. We need about 10 of those, and then we go for the bigger machines, and then printers, you name it. We've got a lot that we need. So just to say the least, I think we are going to look at things that we are going to need as soon as possible, and then followed by things that we are going to need later. So yeah, we've got a lot of work, but we've got a lot of comrades out there who are working and prepared to work, and I think they need to get reassurance that MDC is our only hope. MDC Alliance is our only hope. And, when you've got hope, you need to make sure that hope, you work for that hope so it becomes reality. It's not for one person, it's for you and me to really put everything we have to dislodge this regime.
Yes. Can you imagine Washington if we all put in £1? If every Zimbabwean that lived in here just donated £1, would raise millions in an hour.
It's
So,
true.
so those are some of the things to be thinking about. Is that how can we just ask people for £1? Just give, your
For
family
£1.
members.
I think PayPal gives a minimum. Is it £3 or £5?
Yeah. So just the
Yeah.
barest minimum, and
The
one of the
barest
things.
minimum, you still enjoy your Christmas. You can say, instead of having 2 drinks, you can, instead of having 10 drinks, okay, it's Christmas. You can have 9, and then $5 can go towards the party's protection or acquiring of gear that's going to make the party work. I think that's reasonable enough.
Yeah, I
To
think it
those that
is.
feels and think, I can do more, don't hesitate to get in touch with me, because we are looking for those cadres who wants to do more. If you've got resources, we need your resources. We need those resources. We need to get things going at home. We know the regime is trying its best. They think we can't operate. We don't need an office to operate. Where there is an idea, it's something that is living. You can take an office, you can take a name, you can take this, but an idea, you can never take it from someone's head. So MDC is a living thing. They can't take it away from us.
No, they can't. They've tried. They failed. But the power that President Chamisa has is it's. I think they are failing to understand how that's happening, because they've tried to crush at every point. But the party revives itself because it's people focused. The event that happened with the older people, just giving them basics. Those were just the minimum basics. It's not as if they were being given houses. It was just to get together, have food together and get a little parcel to go home with. And they disrupted that. And it is so shameful. It's awful. But we want to thank President Chamisa for all of these activities that he does. And I think that attached to that, one of the key highlights for me in terms of politics was the visits to the rural areas. And so he embarked on the visits to the rural areas to see the people. And, the people were waiting, were hungry to hear, because they have pinned their hope on something. And, they want to see that into fruition in 2023. And the regime disrupted that. And we know that there was that near assassination attempt on his life. And so that, we are calling out to the regime and saying to them, you need to stop that. You need to stop those behaviors. And we also call out to the international community to speak out and to hold accountable the regime for these continued human rights violations, because they are totally unacceptable. People should be free to go out there and to campaign and to meet with their members and to share their own policies and practices on how they're going to bring about change in Zimbabwe. So, we just want to celebrate some of those good things that we have seen happening. The Diaspora Affairs Office is another big celebration, because it's already beginning to have impact, and we can see people coming to engage. So there's so many highlights. I don't think we can finish them all tonight.
There's so many. Yeah, I
But
think
there's
we,
so
we, we,
many.
we need we need another time so we can come back and
Yes,
really lay
yeah.
things on the table there. I can see Gladys Mack there. She's just written about what we are talking about there, about the Republic Police, Zimbabwe Republic Police, mistreating citizens. Imagine if SADC sees this. SADC in some of the countries that support ZANU-PF, if they see things like this, what are they going to say? Because they say, oh, okay, you people, you support these guys. Do you also support what they're doing? I think they would be really ashamed with that. They would be ashamed.
I just wonder, do they ever get ashamed? Because they are in cahoots with. So SADC is a club of like-minded looters. The African Union, I don't think that they have any power. And I was hearing opposition political parties talking about forming shadow SADC, forming shadow African Union. Uh, I think to some extent that might need to happen so that opposition parties have their own shadows, because what we have in place that is meant to support Africa and to speak up is just not working, has never worked. But we hope that change in 2023 will come to Zimbabwe. But in order for that to change to come, we have heard our speakers tonight, Washington and Wimbai, and also Luke, who's dropped off, talk about that convergence for change. We cannot do it alone. We need to converge. And I think the key voice, and it's not to say other voices are not important, but the majority of people in Zimbabwe are the young people. About 67% are under the age of 35. So, how can the majority be led by a minority and accepted? So, something's really wrong there. So, we need a Zambia sort of uprising where the youth rise up. The youth go and register to vote. If you don't register to vote, you can't make an impact in 2023. So, I know, Vimba, you said it, you talked about information. So having communications is going to be critical as we go into 2022. So there's a lot of work for all of us to do. We need to find ways of leaflet dropping, particularly in the rural areas, in all different languages, in Shona, Ndebele, and, all the other smaller languages that exist in the country. We need to find a way so that people know, because they need to be educated. People need to know about what it means to vote for them and not to be afraid to go and register to vote, because that is the only way that change can come to Zimbabwe. And as we are going to be wrapping up now, we've got a few minutes left. I'm just going to ask our speakers, what message do you have to the people of Zimbabwe, particularly here in the diaspora? If I can come to you first, Vimbai, what do you want the diasporans
Patricia, my
to
battery
do?
is running low. Can I have a quick one, please?
Yeah,
Because
yes,
it
please go
might-
ahead,
yeah.
Washington. Yeah.
I just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, wherever you are. If you're at home, Merry Christmas. I want you to know that we love you. We are thinking of you, and change is coming. Let's work together. If you are a youth and you haven't registered to vote, please go and register to vote. If you are a youth and you have registered to vote, encourage somebody who hasn't registered to vote to also register to vote. You are the leaders of tomorrow. You can't be led by a sekuru. It's up to you to take this upon yourself and start making sure that you are getting ready for that. That is my message. Christmas is going to be very, very difficult, but let's hang in there. Change is around the corner. The person who just bring this change is you and me. So you and me, tine basa rekushanda ngatishandei. Tese from wherever we are. Let's support people at home. Let's encourage our brothers and sisters, family and friends to go and register to vote. Vasina zvitupa, let's encourage them to go and get zvitupa. It is our duty. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Washington. We'll welcome you again soon. There's so much comms that we need to be doing, as Vimbai talked about. So we look forward to welcoming you back again, together with the team from the diaspora. I know they were here the other day, but we look forward to welcoming you so we can talk more about the highlights and also what we need to do and what we need the diaspora to do in 2022. So thank you, Washington,
Thank you
for
very
coming
much.
and gracing us with your presence. We appreciate. Take care. So I'll just come to you, Vimbai, and if you can share what you want the diasporians to do. What is your message to the diasporians?
Well, I say to the diasporians, you are a lovely bunch, because all these things that we can actually sit down and talk about here, you've spearheaded, you've turned up for demonstrations, you've aired your voices, you've used social media, you've tried, you've pushed. I've watched a lot of people, particularly in the UK, pushing the agenda for change, pushing, this togetherness, this convergence. It was just incredible to watch. And I'm saying to the diaspora, to the diasporian community, well done for 2021. Let's keep the spirit for 2022. We can achieve it. We can do this. I know we can. We've got, the skill. We've got the zeal to do it. We've got, the resources to do it. You don't need a lot of money. You just need to speak out. I think that's one of the most important things, to speak out, because, in some of the, in most diaspora platforms, they're protected. They're not, people in the diaspora are not as vulnerable as some people in Zimbabwe. So to the diaspora community, keep doing the work you're doing, keep speaking out, to MDCA Alliance, to RAW, to ZAPU, to Zoro. Keep on doing the work you're doing here in the UK. It's been incredible. 2022 looks bright, and we'll get it done. We are there, and we're happy to, to get the work done. So Merry Christmas to you. And as we, we come together with family and celebrate Christmas, let's also remember Marco and the other gentlemen that are in prison because of, ZANU-PF atrocities. Let's keep, saying it. Let's keep talking. Let's keep pushing. Say it as much as you can. Push as much as you can. They've come after social media because they know it's powerful. They've come after social media because they know that it's, it's one of those platforms. It's our power. It's our strength. So let's use it because they know it. So let's meet them there, on social media, where we can encourage the youth to vote. The youth in Zimbabwe are just incredible people. They're intelligent, but they've been given a road deal by ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF has shortchanged the young people. It has even shortchanged the young adults, and the medium-aged people, because all those people have lost their adulthood. They've lost, their lives, because ZANU-PF is just stealing it from from people, and they're feeding themselves. I read somewhere today that the Anti-Corruption Commission has used 33.3 million, and done absolutely nothing. Where is this money going? And yet a nurse is not paid. A teacher is not paid. The youth don't have jobs. The hospitals are in shambles. So we're saying to Zimbabweans in 2022, let's keep going. We've got hope. We're just an incredible bunch. And know we've got it inside us. So let's push and let's get this done for 2023. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mimba. I really thank you for all those powerful comments and words, and just being part of the show. So we've got plans. We talked yesterday, so we're going to be doing more on this platform. But we want more voices. We want more people. So as we close out, to all our viewers, thank you so much for having joined me. And thank you to our fantastic speakers, Mimbai Mamombe, Luke Banda, who had to drop off, and Washington Ali. So we really appreciate you taking the time to come and listen to us. And I think that you heard some of those key highlights. COP26 was absolutely amazing. It was out of this world, just seeing all of those Zimbabweans that took time to go out there in the cold and to be out there speaking out, raising their voices and calling out the regime. From a political perspective, the MDC Alliance, President Nelson Chamisa, his visits to the rural areas, that was absolutely fantastic, connecting with members and connecting with families and all of those that are interested in change for Zimbabwe. But very sadly, we saw that the regime raised their hand of human rights violations, and there was an assassination attempt on his life. But he survived because he has a job to do in 2023. The MDC Alliance has also launched the Diaspora Affairs Office, and that will be looking and talking about the policy for the diaspora. So there's so many plans there, and hopefully they can come back again and talk to us about what they are doing. We have seen citizens gather, get together and raise money. We know that within the UK and Ireland province, citizens are converging, members are converging, and they are raising funds towards elections 2023. And we want to say thank you to them. So that's another key highlight, just seeing the citizens converging together and raising money. We saw how the citizens raised $120,000 US. So, that was absolutely fantastic. and we need to see more of that. We've also seen how the same group of citizens raised 5,000 US dollars towards the President Chamisa Foundation Fund. So, that money that was going to the elderly party that was disrupted by the regime yesterday. So very shameful to them. Earlier in the year, the Citizens Conversions Change was launched as part of Agenda 2021. So, really grateful for all of those great things that we have seen happening. But I think what is going to bring all of these things together is you and me. You and me need to take an action. You and me need to do something, because all of these individuals that are doing things, they need more and more of us. And that is supporting, by fundraising, giving money. Every little helps. £1, £2, £3, £5, every little helps, because we want Zimbabwe to be free in 2023, and we need to do it together. So for now, I'm going to say goodbye. Please watch this space, and we'll be back again in the next week, just to talk more about some of the plans and activities that we need to see happening in 2022, because 2022 is a year of action. So if there's anything that you've taken away from us today, is 2022 is a year of action. We want to converge for change. We want that change to happen in Zimbabwe, for you, for me, for all of our relatives and all our friends, because they are the ones that are suffering. And to some extent, we are, because all of our money goes there. And so we can't have a quality of life, because we are constantly having to give every penny that we earn to go and support back home. Did you want to say goodbye to the viewers, Mimbai, and then we'll close out?
Thank you and goodbye. Good night. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Thank you.
Yes, Merry Christmas. But for me, it's not a Merry Christmas at all,
Yeah.
because we cannot be merry when our own cadres, our heroes of the struggle, Makomborero Haruzivi Ishe, is in prison. We cannot struggle. We cannot celebrate. So we are thinking of Mako, we are praying for Mako, and we are also praying for his family during this time, which is a difficult time for them. We are also thinking about some other people that were incarcerated following the fuel protests in 2019. So they who are imprisoned at St. Thomas Prison. So that's Rakeshi Marufu, Colin Faison, Tafara Mafunde, Trust Nyamadu, and Wawa Prison, Farah Chidziva. So we want to remember them. Please keep them in your prayers. Good night, viewers. See you soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye.